Hey everyone, I have some great news before we start Best Replays of the Week. You can now join! That's right, in the description there'll be a link to the video where I'll explain exactly what you have to do. Anyway, on to the awards. We begin our warm-up on Northwest, where one team has a massive advantage over the other. 6 tanks start capturing the base just 5 minutes into the battle. Only one enemy remains, a sleeping Matilda, still drowsy from the holidays. It looks like an easy kill, but turns out to be anything but that. The invaders fire on the Matilda, ram her, and even try to intimidate this defiant machine. But she just doesn't care. At all. Not one managed to destroy their plucky tank before the end of the battle. If only the Matilda could shoot back. Anyway, the base is captured, and we're moving on. Next stop is port. Right at the start, a GWE-100 takes aim at a spot where artillery is often found, fires, and takes out an Object 261, and is immediately destroyed himself. Yes, this is a mutual artillery kill, only 40 seconds after the battle was started. Isn't it cool? Let's watch it again. The GWE-100 fires, the Object 261 spots the tracer, fires in return, and both SPGs are destroyed. Let's finish the warm-up on Live Oaks. After eating lots of delicious New Year treats, our hero decides to drive a Panzer 1C platooned with Tier 9 and 10 SPGs. And what do you know? The little Panzer ends up fighting Tier 9 and 10 enemies. Whatever, I'm not scared, thinks the Panzer 1C, and sets out to do some scouting. But just spotting is not for real men. Time to attack. Look, a Waffenträger. It shall be the victim. After a good party, you can feel like wrestling a bear. Our hero runs around the Waffenträger, tickling it with his little gun. This merry-go-round spins until long-suffering German tank destroyer finally goes down. The Waffenträger gets a ticket to the garage, and the Panzer 1C receives a round of applause from all viewers. That's all for the warm-up, and we proceed to the awards. This week's Top Gun winner is a player named Sten0312, driving the famous German TD Stug 3. Map: Tundra. The battle starts quite normally. The Stug fires at enemies where he can, and even destroys a Panzer IV. Despite his decent contribution, 5 minutes after the start of the battle, there are no allies left. The score is 5-14. Many of us would lose heart at this point, but not our Stug. For him, it's a challenge he's ready to take on with all his German courage. 10 against 1. A BT-7 is spotted and immediately destroyed. Then an unwary Su-85 is handed a one-way ticket to the garage. Now a Wolverine and a KV-1 approach from the right. The American TD carelessly moves out from behind the building, loses its track with the Stug's first shot, and goes to the rest with the second. The KV-1 is likely to share the same fate, but our Stug has to move. The arty is not asleep. Our hero miraculously dodges the incoming artillery shell, but takes a hit from the Soviet heavy tank. Phew, no damage, and he didn't even lose the track. Lucky. The KV-1 on the other hand seems quite annoyed and just rushes forward. Such impertinence will not be tolerated. 5 kills and 6 more enemy vehicles to go. Changing position to avoid SPG fire, once again the terrifying emptiness of the Tundra. Stug waits a little and moves to a proven position. Enemy spotted. The Panzer 38T disintegrates. The KV-1 is also hit, but it manages to get into cover. Is the villain going to peek out, or not? The Stug's sharp sensors scream that he's been surrounded, and he's right. 5 more seconds and a Marder 38T creeps in from behind. Time to get aggressive. Our Stug fires at a Marder, then rushes forward, dodging artillery shouts. 1 more shot and a ram. What a nice move. 2 shots and a fist fight. Do not stop. There are still those who would stop you. The Stug looks for enemies and spots an M7. Go for it! A nice maneuver, skillfully dodging the shot. There's no time to reload, so the M7 becomes the 8th kill on the Stug's account. Our hero doubles back on his trail and ends up facing a T-49 and an Su-122A. No sense in fighting 2 enemies at once. Why not hide behind the mounting? Now he needs to lure the T-49 out. But wait, there's another option. The SPG is standing still, and our brave TD goes in for a rush. Another kill, but the T-49 is hot on his heels. The American fires and misses. Excellent. There's just enough time for the Stug to turn around. Come on now. The Stug loses his track and fires back, causing damage. And again, the T-49 manages to penetrate the Stug's armor with its 3rd shot. But it doesn't matter now, he's spare parts. Only the KV-1 is left, and our German death machine will not stop. The prey has become the hunter, and all he needs now is a vantage point. He climbs up on the hill and waits. Target spotted. The unsuspecting KV-1 drives calmly without any idea the Stug is aiming for him. The Stug misses and gives his position away, but the KV-1 doesn't care. No damage? No problem, thinks the KV-1. No damage? Take this! Finally, the KV-1 is ready to fight. Well, he rolls out into the open, loses his track, fires somewhere, and gets methodically taken apart. Last kill with a bank, and the brave Stug receives 2,500 gold for his valor. Congratulations! This week's Scout winner is a player named Angel Killer. We haven't had a replay worthy of winning this award in some time. And happily, this isn't Malinovka. The map, Highway, Standard Battle. The platoon with our hero driving his E25 gets into a tier 10 battle. It's not the best situation. Nevertheless, a good tanker does his best to be useful. Our daredevil scout takes off towards the city. He hides in the bushes, and it starts to pay off immediately. The enemies can't even reach the city because of the German all-seeing eye. With steady calm, the hidden E25 keeps spotting, whilst his allies destroy 2 British heavy tanks, an IS-8 and a Lovig, one by one. Waiting for the right moments, the German TD moves from cover to cover, advancing towards the enemy base. Revealing enemies keep dying one by one, and our hero doesn't take a shot. There's just no need to fire. Enemy tanks go pop like balloons at a porcupine's birthday party. With the score already 9-5, our E25 finally opens fire and takes out an FV215B. But as the battle results show, it wasn't really necessary, just a bit of fun added. The result, almost 12k spotting damage, a patrol duty achievement, and the well-deserved title of Scout of the Week. Well done! The Defender of the Week is a player named Sajanders, driving the good old T-3485. At the start of the battle, he sets off to help his allies on the hills with no idea what he'll have to go through. But first things first. An early clash takes place halfway to the enemy base, but our hero is in no hurry to get into focus fire. At the same time, his allies on the other flank are throwing their lives away. Enemy players are not really careful either. While the T-3485 is waiting patiently, other tanks are eagerly pounding each other into scrap. Enemy tanks break through to the allied base and destroy the helpless SPGs. Our hero leaves his position on the hills at once and returns closer to his team's flag. The T-3485 takes out one of the cappers. The base capture starts again, but a T-3485 can't spot enemies from this far away. He decides to leave the hill and advances on the base circle. The T-28 blows up in an instant. Now it's time to deal with the American, not the most dangerous adversary. And here comes the T-150. Now it's getting serious, and no allies are left to cover the brave Soviet medium tank. It's the same old story. You have to do it all by yourself. The T-3485 heads off to go around and meets an enemy Su-100. Then he waits for a while until the red capture line forces him to act more aggressively. He takes a detour. Well, hello, Su-100. Couple of shots, and the SU is destroyed. By the time our hero reaches his destination, the base is almost captured, but at the very last moment his shell finds its target. After a number of shots, the enemy heavy tank finally gets his ticket to the garage, and our T-3485 is ready to punish the artillery. However, these SPGs were not made with a rusty rasp, and guess what the Soviet medium tank sees on his way to the enemy base? Right, the red line of base capture. Now it's time for the T-3485 to activate its state-of-the-art supercomputer assembled with nails and chewing gum. Complicated calculations show the right thing to do is rush the enemy base, destroy the M41, and then rush back to the Allied flag. And guess what? A supercomputer working on punch cards and nerves of steel. The base capture is shot down again at the very last moment, and then the enemy SPG is left smoking next to the other unlucky invaders. Taking out the last enemy is just a formality. The Su-8 is not given a chance to turn or run away. Our hero has already received a bunch of achievements and a heavy dose of adrenaline. The only thing for us to add is well-deserved gold and this week's Defender title. This week's Invader is a player named Atmahini Jad driving the American Tier 9 SPG M53-M55. It's not very common for an SPG to capture the enemy base, nor of course is it to win this award. But any vehicle can make a last stand in a battle, be it a tank or an SPG. It's all about the right state of mind. And a little help from the Great Random won't hurt, of course. Despite a good effort by the M53, the enemy team is advancing on every front. Our hero doesn't want to wait for destruction in his own base, so he rolls bravely towards the enemy flag. The mouse did well drawing enemy attention to himself, but the capture is not finished yet. The M53 needs to consolidate his advantage. This time it means trusting his luck and not giving in, despite having no shells left to fire and 3 adversaries coming his way. Suddenly our hero stops hiding and goes to meet his fate. What's going on? Is it a cunning maneuver, or maybe his bluff meter went off the scale? No one knows, but in the meanwhile, the Object 212 shows up. He aims, fires, and misses. Immediately, a Panther is ready to present our hero with an armor-piercing gift, but he aims just a little too long. Base captured! All I can say is, you can't hit if you don't even fire the shots. For his iron will to win, adapting to the situation, and a combination of incredible boldness and luck, our SPG player deserves the title of this week's Best Invader. And finally, our main award, the Best Replay of the Week. This time the award goes to a player named Dark Angel 1991, driving a T21. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, and instead let's follow our hero to the central hillside of the Westfield map. From olden times, the School of Intelligent Scouting has been in competition with the School of Center Rushing. Disciples from each school meet in battle. The action is short but explosive, thanks to the T-50's ammo rack. Like a true astronomer, our hero discovers an unknown comet. Despite this intriguing find, the academic council on the hill has to return to earthly matters. And the T-21 provides competent assistance. Enemy vehicles are quickly dispatched to the garage, and now it's time to seek new victims. A T-43 is found and a comet from earlier. The Soviet medium tank manages to hide, but the British one is less fortunate. Pretty soon, the T-43 gives himself away, and so does a Borsig. And they're finished off quickly. Just in time to hide, the enemy forces have pushed through to the plateau. The T-34 misjudges things, and a series of accurate shots turn him into a smoking pile of metal. Artillery spotted! The GW Panther manages to hide, but it doesn't help. Our brave scout takes out the German SPG and then decides to return to his base, taking out an Su-122-44 and an IS-3 on the way back. But now the last enemy vehicle refuses to surrender and tries to defend his base. The T-21 manages to cause some damage to the IS-6 whilst it's busy fighting with Super Pershing. But the Soviet heavy tank is tougher. Wait a minute, why hasn't the T-21's last ally come to help yet? It turns out he's trapped behind the remains of an IS-3. The T-21 assesses his chances against the IS-6, looks again at the sad Super Pershing, and sees the signs of desperation in his triplex. No, he can't abandon his comrade like this. You're gonna make it, buddy. Our hero summons all his strength and succeeds in saving Private Pershing. Just in time. The IS-6 is coming. While his ally is taking enemy fire, the T-21 seizes the moment. The IS-6 rear hull suffers greatly. The outraged heavy tank even bursts into flames, but manages to extinguish the fire, saving his last HP. Another hit, and yes, the IS-6 is gone, and the T-21 gets his 8 kills. He pulls off a victory, receiving the well-deserved gold and the respect of our viewers. It's not every day you see a scout that is able to light up the enemy vehicles, stay alive throughout the battle, help his allies in seemingly hopeless situations, and finally determine the outcome of the battle. So that's it for today. If you want to join in, click on that preview video on the right to find out how. But remember to click that like and subscribe buttons if you want to see more. So soon we'll all get to see you guys on Best Replays of the Week. See you then. This week's invaders are a player named Ahmadinejad driving the American T-90 SPG M53 and 54. Okay.